and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin DeClue.
And Colin Cunningham.
Why are you laughing, Colin?
Oh, no, I'm just laughing because April's putting on this voice.
Was I talking weird?
Hello.
Sorry.
You're like a southern belle.
What are you talking about, Colin? This is all our normal voices.
I got a case of the vapors.
The vapors.
Oh, I got to sit on
it's
my
because April's
couch.
a cat on a hot tin roof.
So last week we skipped ahead and did like a winter-themed movie.
Yeah.
This week, it's a fall-themed movie. It's not a fall-themed movie, but this movie, I took note, shot at a beautiful time where there's red leaves everywhere,
Okay.
there's orange leaves on the ground. It was clearly fall, and it's fall right now, and I'm so happy that it's cooler. I'm really enjoying
The air
the
is
cooler
very
weather.
crisp and
Yeah.
invigorating.
Yeah, and you're looking suspiciously at any animals, stuffed or CGI, that are coming your way.
Yes.
And then when they get really close, they turn into hand puppets all of a sudden.
Yeah. they're like, "Arr."
And then a big bucket of blood will just like fall on you from off screen.
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
So this is a movie, Rise of the Animals, that I was told by a film programmer friend of mine whose name rhymes with Eater Oklowski. And it was a film that was submitted to After Dark, and everybody liked it, and they went, it's too cheap, we can't play it.
Really?
Yes. And what I said is like, since I've seen this movie, I've remembered it. I cannot name you any of the other movies I saw at After Dark.
Yeah, what the
Yeah,
hell?
exactly. This is a very memorable movie, I would say.
It's like, reported $7,000 budget.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
Your movie played it After Dark, and that wasn't some big budget.
We had about
I think
10,000.
it was an exception, though. Yeah.
Well, ours was an exception
Yes.
because Justin knows the programmers.
No,
but
you've
this was a little cheaper than
You've
than
always
that.
got to have one of those movies, though, in After Dark, I feel like. After Dark is the kind of movies that don't play at TIFF, Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
They're kind of on the lower end budget-wise.
For those who don't know, this is a smaller horror film festival that happens every October in Toronto.
Yeah,
I'd like to point out that Eater Oklowski did not program my film at Toronto After Dark. He had not seen it when it played.
Oh, that's right. He said that on stage as a disclaimer because he actually showed up in the movie in a cameo.
That's
and
right.
That would look really bad. He
This
was counting.
fall, watch
he was,
Impossible Horror.
He was holding like a big envelope full of money, and it said from Justin DeClue.
So this film is one of those movies that, and they told us why they didn't play it. They're like, all the animals are puppets, and it's like,
What?
that's
the best
why
part.
it's funny.
And not all the animals are puppets, that's for darn
Oh,
sure.
no, they're not. So this film was made by a bunch of film school students as their thesis project.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's great. I wondered, I was like, this can't be high school. This has to be at least college level, right?
Yeah. I think it was made in like 2011, and it was like 3 core guys that were all in school, and everybody else were like friends or people that they got from like local talent agencies that would work for free, and they shot it over a couple of weekends, I think.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
okay.
that's great.
Yeah, Chris Wojcik, I think, is
Yeah.
the director, and it was another guy who did all the effects.
And
actually,
I listened to the commentary. He had never done any effects when he started working on the ones in this movie.
Well, I have to say,
well-
as far as low-budget CGI effects go, they're not too bad.
We've seen much worse.
I've seen much worse by people who have done it.
Well, look at like
Supposedly he was like,
and
all
Coney
right,
or something.
time to use Maya, whatever that is, when he sat down to start work on this movie. So we should start right at the beginning, because this film has quite an opening setting
Holy
the tone.
shit. It's right from the get-go.
Yeah. Where I think you get like a crazy Evil Dead style like jib
Cold
shot
open.
where the camera's like turning on a house, and it's a woman being attacked by her cat.
Yeah. And then she throws it down the garburator.
Oh, and then it turns into a stuffed cat.
It turns into like the funniest looking stuffed animal before it goes down the garburator. And I think the cat before that is just a cat sitting on a table.
Yeah,
it's an actual
they had a
cat.
shot of a real cat.
Just going,
According to the commentary, it took him 2 hours to get that shot.
really?
I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. Cats are not cooperative. Cat operative. When
I'm going to mention the commentary a lot because watching the movie, I'm like, wow, this is really ambitious. and listening to them talk about it, it's because everything that could go wrong and the reasons I wouldn't do something happened to them. Dozens of times the cops were called on them.
I'm not surprised because they're first-time filmmakers, right? And that's kind of just how you learn on the set, right? You know the wrong things.
You kind of like try to steal shots, and you're doing things without permits.
They dropped a bucket of blood on the camera and their parents' van.
Oh no!
God. And they dropped the camera in the water in a scene that takes place in the water later on in the movie.
I wondered, do you know what camera this was shot on? Because I was like, it doesn't look that bad for 2011.
I mean, it looks pretty bad. It looks digital.
Well, it looks digital, but compared to other movies that we've seen at this sort of level, it looks a lot better than those.
They were using film school equipment, I think, so it was probably like one of those big shoulder-mounted cameras, which is what I use in film school, that has like beta tapes, and you're like, why are we still using this?
Did they wreck that camera by getting blood on it?
Yeah, they broke one of them when they dropped it in the water, supposedly.
Oh, now we're going to have to upgrade to VHS.
Oh, wait, I didn't even get through the opening, because after that woman throws the cat in the carburetor, it then cuts to her son being chased by a dog, I think, right in a field.
No, it's a bunny rabbit.
It's a bunny rabbit, yeah.
The son is on the rooftop of like an SUV, and he's kind of like hiding out up there, and you kind of see this CG bunny rabbit. Anytime you see a close-up of the animals, and this might be too soon, but that's kind of my favorite thing. So anytime they cut to a close-up, it's like a hand puppet, but they're almost like really cutesy animals.
Well, yes.
I don't know how many of these were built for this or were just like reconstituted stuffed animals,
like kind of just toy animals
that
or something
they made into a puppet.
Yeah,
well, I do know that the deer in the movie, which is probably the funniest hand puppet, was, I kid you not, supposedly one of the people that worked on the film drove by a dead deer on the road, and he's like, okay, and they gutted it, and they kind of like the skin on it's a real deer, but it's stuffing all around it.
No, okay, that was the one they showed in the opening. They passed by it, and the camera kind of like jigs down.
I don't think it's that deer. I think that was like a different dead animal. This was shot in Rochester, New York, so I guess the roads are just lined with roadkill.
like dead deer.
There's a lot of deer in this movie that I will get to later.
Yeah, so we see the kids being sort of trapped on the SUV by this bunny rabbit, and then the mom shows up and shoots the bunny rabbit.
And it explodes like 10 pounds of blood.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I kind of appreciated about this is it's real squibs and lots of real blood.
Not real blood.
Not real blood, but I mean like practical blood.
Yeah, not what's that called? Where it's like CGI blood?
CG blood. Oh, that would have hurt the film a lot, I think, if it was like just CG blood splattering all over the place.
Yeah, that's what I kind of appreciated and what kind of put it above a lot of these sort of movies, a couple of notches for me.
And so the kid's on the car, and the mom saves him, and then there's one of the best shots in the movie where a dog jumps out of the car window, but it's like, I guess like Action Essentials 2 breaking window.
I think it was the same breaking window from Lycan Colony.
It was slightly better than that. But yeah, it's like the shatter effect in After Effects.
It's like the dog is like the friendliest looking family golden retriever.
It's so cute looking. Yeah. And then I guess it jumps into the car after the mom, and then you just see the boys like POV, and then just gallons of blood. This is another thing I kind of liked about this movie is like they use so much blood.
Yeah, every time someone gets killed, blood splatters. And as someone who splattered a lot of blood all over the place, oh boy, I felt for those actors.
Oh yeah.
Does that like wash out?
Depending on what blood you use, it can wash out. Sometimes people put bleach in blood because it takes away the transparency of it. But I heard what kind of blood they use, which I had never heard this formula. They used milk in their blood to make it thicken. And the issue with that was it reeks if you use the same location multiple times.
Oh, no.
And supposedly that happened in a cabin sequence they did. They came back weeks later and no one had cleaned up because they shot in an abandoned cabin they just found.
Yeah, I could tell it was abandoned just by the
Wait, was that
look
the
of
attack scene with the which we'll get to?
With the deer, yes.
Well, like
Okay.
a party's going on. That was just a cabin they found. Didn't have power. They had to bring their own generator to power it.
That's funny. It looked like someone's garage where they had just sort of built cardboard walls.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I wonder if they could have just shot in someone's garage. 'Cause
You never know.
Well, at
empty.
least they had a location that they could get blood everywhere and no one would care.
It's funny because like April, when you moved in, you brought like, I don't know, like a liter of fake blood.
I think I got that from Justin, to be honest.
that sounds about right, yeah.
That's that stuff, and it's been downstairs in the
Still
like closet.
have it. It's like a
It is
gallon.
not good. Do not put that in your mouth.
Okay, so
No.
as a joke, I got this like chop saw, and I just put on Twitter like, oh, I tried out my new chop saw, and then I poured some of the blood on my hand and took a picture like I chopped my finger off or something.
As a goof.
That blood stains permanently. Like that did not come out for days.
Oh, is it like theater blood? Is it like
Yeah.
I think so,
Okay,
yeah.
that stuff stains. Yeah, the way
Holy
that I make
shit.
blood is corn syrup, red food coloring, and then
Yeah.
chocolate sauce to darken it, and that
Oh, okay.
won't stain. But it
I remember
sticks. That's what
it was
people
Bruce
hate.
Campbell talking about the
Caro
recipe
syrup?
it was the caro syrup, which is corn syrup, and then he'd said put powdered milk in it to sort
Yeah.
of add some sort of I don't know
Yeah,
sort of make it more opaque.
Darken
Yeah,
it, yeah, so it's not because the
Transparent.
problem is you can have transparent blood, and people are like, it's fake, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right.
It just looks like fake.
Well, the blood
fruit
that
punch.
we used on like
Impossible Horror?
Impossible Horror was really sticky.
Yeah, that's 'cause
Yeah.
it's like pure corn syrup. That's
It's
why.
corn syrup and chocolate sauce.
Yeah, so when these
That's what happened.
when these people get covered in it, and there's one scene like, later which we'll get to.
Oh, God.
That's all I could think about.
One of the
It's
characters
God.
has blood on his face for half the movie.
I know,
Yeah.
it's true. And I was like, oh my God, they didn't stop to wash.
Like, this would be so uncomfortable.
Oh, but that's just part of the fun, It's silly. And
So the movie starts, and we're introduced to our two heroes, a pizza delivery man named Wolf, I think.
Yeah,
And he works at, what is it, Pizza Itza?
pizza.
Great name.
And his best friend Jake. What movie do they really want to go see? That they're like, we got to go see the
I thought
premiere.
he said it was like Alien something, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I forget.
And I learned only through the commentary that two characters in this movie are named after Animorph characters.
Oh, well, I did read Animorphs, but I can't remember Wolf or
Was it a
Probably like
show though too?
it
Jake
was a
Wolf.
TV show, but like nobody watched it.
Ooh,
So what do they
Colin's
do?
showing his age. No. It was all about books that when you flip the pages, a human being morphs into an animal.
Yeah, it was like a little picture in the corner, and then it would morph. I read like
Like a flip book animation?
Yeah, but it's a
Yes.
novel. It's not. That's not the whole
That's
thing.
pretty funny.
I read like 6 of those books. I was really into them.
Oh my
The
God.
thing about them was that they were incredibly dark and depressing. Like, characters died all the time, and if you stayed in animal form for, I think it was more than 2 hours, you're trapped in that animal form, but you
Yeah.
still have, like, human thoughts.
Forever?
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the characters, who I think was named Tobias, he turned into he stayed as a hawk too long.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a hawk forever, but he was like their animal sidekick who would, like, much like in Mulan, would go around and do recon for them. But he was like, I didn't like being a human. I was ugly and I
okay.
wasn't happy. So
I thought maybe he regretted it. And he's just like, I just want to bone some chicks.
Well, there was one character who, like, they
Chicks.
gave him animorph powers, and he turned to be evil, so they forced him to turn into a mouse and abandon him on an island, and all the animorphs are telepathic, so it's like,
Yeah.
some people say that when fishermen come around, they can hear him psychically screaming.
oh
my God.
That's dark.
I gotta start reading Animorphs.
So I guess the people who made this movie were Animorph fans.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably our age, so they probably read the books.
yeah, our age. Hey, kids.
Hello, my fellow
Hello, fellow kids.
What is new with the Animorphs?
Animorphs. Hey, I was around. I remember when morph, that term was invented.
Oh, yeah.
Morph had to
Where
be invented.
every production wanted morphs in them. It was like, that'll be $10,000, please.
Exactly. No, it was like after the Terminator 2, it was, how was this done? I'm morphing, you say. I remember that became the kind of generic term for any kind of effects. Oh, these Jurassic Park
Really?
dinosaurs with morphing, huh?
Well, what about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
That's why it was so popular. People kept waiting for them to morph.
They never.
And who
morphed.
can forget your favorite X-Men character? Morph.
Morph.
Wolverine's best
Yeah.
friend.
Well, the Power Rangers thing was, it's morphin' time.
Oh God.
That's right.
I watched that a lot, obviously.
Our two heroes end up at a party where there's a bunch of sexy ladies.
Yeah, I will say I liked the music in this scene. I don't remember how it went, but yeah, there's like music like coming from the cabin. You can like hear it, and then they have this long conversation about whether or not they should go in and blah blah blah. The one guy wants to get laid, and the other guy's like, no, let's go home. And
well, Wolf is delivering pizza, and then like the girl comes out and like pukes all over the pizza. And I was 100% thinking I could hear the music through the door. I'm like, that's just sound effects. They're never going to reveal, because they could never cast,
a party,
get all these girls together, and then they open the door and it's like, oh shit,
they did.
I was proven wrong.
They're not all the best actresses, but
they got like 10 people.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna say what my favorite thing of this movie, and it was like going back home again, listening to all those crunchy sound effects I've heard a million times, because you can get them in Special Effects Pack 9 or whatever, especially head crushes. Ooh, I recognize those sounds.
Well, also, this film, it reminded me a lot of Teddy Bomb in a lot of ways, but not just that, but like Edgar Wright, where there were like people would look and there would be a sound effect.
There'd be the whip
like
pan sound effect.
It's not all over the place, but it's enough that it makes it funner.
It's definitely
to
there,
watch,
for sure. You can see their kind of inspirations.
But also the animal sound effects is doing like all the heavy lifting for every animal, because it's like some scenes they're just showing something far away and I'm not 100% sure what it is, but then they'll play like cows mooing or something. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what that is.
Oh, this is a big appearance of a real life animal later on in the movie, but we'll get there.
Oh man, that's great.
But first we have our, I guess, incel hero, Wolf.
We were really confused about this next scene.
Where he really wants to have sex with this girl that he dated, kinda?
Previously knew.
Yeah,
so
I think they just knew each other.
We kind of get to the party. They go to the kitchen to get some booze, and then we meet Jake's sister.
Yeah,
yes.
Who is hungry and eating some fried chicken.
Yeah, she's at the party. They kind of disappear, and then this girl kind of comes out of the shadows.
Her hoodie is completely open, exposing her lacy bra, which is odd.
And from this moment on, I just thought this whole scene was a dream.
Yeah,
like, it didn't seem real because she just immediately starts hitting on him, and he's
pouring booze down his throat.
Yeah, she's way out of his league too.
She also seemed older than everyone else in the movie.
Hello, fellow kid.
She's obviously more experienced than.
Yeah, she takes him to the van to make sweet love. And our hero Wolf just ejaculates all over the place.
Yeah, you don't see it or anything.
No,
but,
it's not like Scary Movie where he's like, oh.
Yeah.
He's all like
it's off screen. Yeah, and then later.
Does he pass out? Like, is that the implication that he's like, oh, so tired?
I think so. He wakes up.
They make out a little bit more, and then he's asleep.
He's so spent from his ejaculating that he wakes up the next morning.
Me and Colin know how it feels. Just gotta go right into hibernation mode.
He wakes up 6 months later, shirtless, with a big
giant
beard,
Jumanji beard.
What year is it?
Well, the next morning, she's nowhere to be found. He's looking all over for her. She's not in the cabin, and there's a weird deer outside that one of the other party goers is like, this deer's been staring at me, and he goes, you want to go feed it? Sure, because that sounds like a good idea. I mean, that is something like dumb kids would do. Want to go feed a deer. For
people who have never lived like in the countryside, I have, like in farmland, deers are like the rats of the country.
They are,
actually. Are they vicious?
Oh, yeah. Well, they're just annoying. There's a lot of them. They make a lot of noise. And they poo all over the place.
Well, my mom lived in Victoria, and she had kind of an apartment there, and she had this beautiful backyard. Me and April went there, and deers would just
deers frolicking.
It was like being in Narnia. It was like deers frolicking everywhere. And
we were on like the second floor patio though, so it's not like we were down there, like we're near them, but we weren't like trying to touch them or anything.
And did your mom come on the porch and she's like, "Get off my property"?
No, she loved them, and we got there. And April, every day they would come by. April would be reading a book, and they'd
come by. It was like a mom and two fawns. Oh,
and you talk
they're
to
beautiful creatures.
They're so nice. And then you talk to anybody else in Victoria that lives there, and they're like, fucking things, and God, just like, destroy my gardens, and they would do this and cause all this damage. Everybody hated them there.
Yeah, so they're like a pest.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful creatures.
But in this deer, in this movie, our first, I think, example of a full CGI creature.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first because I was like, that looks like a stuffed deer that they comped in, maybe.
It looked like maybe it had been puppeteered and then the puppeteer had been kind of rotoed out or something like that.
It's seamless. The CGI and the puppet effects in this movie.
Seamless.
It's so hard to tell what is real, what is fake.
Well,
I mean, what is real is that the woman tries to pet the deer and it bites her hand off.
Oh my god! And then her arm is replaced by like a Halloween prop, like
Yes.
stumpy arm.
Oh yeah, doesn't her hand like hit the ground and she's like,
Spraying
and
tons of
blood
blood.
shoots all over the place.
Pretty
yeah,
great.
I just love the close-ups of the deer puppet, like any other animal puppet. It's like the I guess deer head from Evil Dead 2 or something when it's on the wall.
I mean, that's what happens in the next scene, which is they rush back into the house, and all the party goers that we met in the previous scene just get brutally murdered.
Yeah, and
one after the other.
They have a little dialogue scene, which is where I noticed I was like, okay, these people are not very good actors, but that's okay. It's part of the fun. And then deers are like coming in through the walls, and everyone's screaming.
People are being like dragged off, like, you know, like a supernatural found footage film,
Yeah.
like into darkness and like blood splattering
like
all over
the
the place.
other, the best friend. He's like repeatedly like kicking this deer like in the face, and it's happening like forever, and they just
Wait,
keep
don't they,
cutting
like,
back to it.
stick a like lamp in one of the deers and it's like catches fire?
Well,
Yeah.
that's the queen
Yeah.
deer that comes later. So this whole assault scene. I thought the movie was going to be like an assault on Precinct 13 type movie where they're just going to kind of hole up in this cabin and blah blah blah. But when they start attacking this thing, and it's obvious like the cabin walls are just like
Pieces of cardboard.
that the deer are breaking through because they didn't want to break actual walls. And like the amount of blood used in this scene, like anytime somebody gets pulled through a hole in the wall, it is like a gigantic
It's like someone
bucket.
is just off the set, just like
It's like a Home Depot.
Like throwing.
It's not like someone is offset.
just out of
And
frame.
I gotta say that, like, the deer heads, the fact that they, you know, gutted a deer and all that, it makes me feel bad because it just looks like I can make that deer head at home.
Yeah.
Because it's just like kind of like flesh colored stuff. Some of them have antlers. I think there's like 3 variations.
Well, there's
Yeah.
one that I can tell it was sewn together because I can see it has like big stitches.
Oh, that was the real.
Stitches?
That was real.
That's
Maybe it
my-
was like a Franken deer of some
yeah,
kind.
it was like Frankenstein's stitches. But anyway, we don't stay at this cabin. Our heroes are the only ones left.
They are
It's
covered in blood,
Wolf,
by the way.
his friend, and his friend's sister.
But wait, then they make their way to the SUV, into
Yeah.
the Astro van, I think, and they were covered in blood. And then they hear this. It's like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. You hear the footsteps, and then and then they look outside, and then they see like the big queen deer.
Oh yeah.
And then the girl has to run back inside to get something, I think. And then she ends up fighting the queen deer. And then
The doe.
the doe, sure, whatever. It's built up to be like this monstrous deer. Or something.
Oh,
But it's
yeah,
like-
and she sticks the light fixture and the head catches fire as it's screaming. Oh!
Like electrocutes it.
And it's like vomiting blood still, like,
Yeah, that's right. You know, the one good thing about this movie, I don't think there's any like big CGI explosions
No.
that are used as punchlines.
No.
Which never works, filmmakers. Don't do it.
actually,
there
there
is
is
an
one.
explosion later in the movie.
Oh, we'll
but
we'll
it's
get to
not
that.
really a punchline.
It kind of is.
But no, this movie's more about the blood.
Yeah, blood splattering on
Yeah,
people.
which
So,
Splatter
you
fun.
really don't see in sort of low budget movies anymore, really.
so I think our hero Wolf has like a text. Oh no, he finds the phone of the girl that he was making out with the night before.
Right.
And he decides, oh, I should go give it back to her. Oh, but my battery's running out, so I have to go home to get a charger.
Yeah, so they go home, which is good because it's not what I was expecting. Like, again, you expect them to be on the run or whatever.
Right.
So, like, this movie is now about finding the chick with the big boobs, okay?
To give her her phone back.
But first, we got to drop off at home. And then this is my favorite scene in the movie where he goes home and his grandfather is
Angry
giving him a
grandpa.
hard time. And this guy is giving a really fun performance. I wonder if he was one of the local actors, this guy. Like, he wasn't...
This is finally my big chance.
Yeah, he wasn't like a friend. So he's like a gun-toting, like right-wing nut, and he's like saying, "You'll never amount to anything like your father." And then they realize that their neighborhood is barricaded by the cops because there's a national emergency right now because animals are killing everybody. That's I don't know if we mentioned that. That's what's happening.
Yeah, there's like a
I'm looking
roadblock.
at the scenes here, and it's like there's cops on the streets. They're firing guns.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is so big.
No,
But there's like one shot especially that is really funny. It's like a squirrel, a crazy
Running at a
squirrel.
guy.
It runs down from like down the telephone pole. And this is what I think is really kind of good about the effects. You know, they are very low budget and they kind of look crappy, but it goes with the tone of the movie, I think. But all the camera tracking is really well done. Like, you know, they'll actually move the camera and pan it and, you know, do all these sort of things, and the CG is like very well locked on. So, but this like squirrel runs down the telephone pole and then runs after the cop, but it's just like the camera kind of moving along the ground, and then this like little CG like squirrel running in front of the camera. It's really funny.
It's obviously CG, but it's a fun shot.
Yeah, well, it knows what it is.
Exactly.
I think the director said that he just wanted to make a movie where people were killing CG animals.
Oh, for sure.
And puppets.
Yeah, but anytime you know the animal is killed and there's lots of blood, it's practical, which is really cool.
Well, the thing is, like, if this was really realistic, it'd probably be a miserable movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to see real animals get killed.
like Birdemic or something, where it's just like, you know, that level of CG crappiness in Birdemic is bad because it's just like the tone of the movie is so serious.
Well, I don't remember exactly what happens, but Wolf gets in a fight with his grandpa and he runs away and he jumps out the window or something, right? And he's
he jumps over the banister of his stairs.
Yeah, he runs out because the grandpa's like, we're gonna go and like hole up, you know, up north somewhere.
Well, then the grandfather tries to shoot him as he runs away because he's a coward or something, and his friends come in and pick him up, and then the cops shoot the grandfather, and it's this wonderful shot. He's like, it's very much like the Last Eagle Scout. He has the American flag on his lawn and it's framed in the background, and then he explodes and squibs go off, and he's like, it's such a like a cheesy scene, and it fits, but it's also like, who is this man? Why are these cops shooting him? Who cares?
No, he shoots a cop. Remember?
I think he was shooting at Wolf.
He was shooting at Wolf, and Wolf like moves out of the way, which shoots a cop, and then the cop shoots him.
And the cop fucking died.
Yeah, and then the cops just unload on him, and like it's a slow mo. It's really good.
It was like, really fun.
Wow, like real squibs. Like pretty good.
I think I may lose the thread here because they go on like a road trip, and it's like bunch of stuff that happens.
I've got it all written
one
down,
after the other.
It was a little bit like not episodic, but it's just kind of like short scenes.
It's either the gas station stop or the horse attack. I think it's the gas
station.
I don't remember the gas station.
Gas station is where they kind of go up onto the roof of the van. Look at the
and they have like a moment,
I think that may be a little bit. Yeah, they're bonding and stuff like that. They're friends. Maybe our hero, the real girl he's looking for, is the one that's right there in the car with him.
Well, he finds in her the big boob girl's cell phone. She might have a boyfriend. There's pictures of another guy in there.
Yeah, the girl kind of takes it from him and kind of sees, and she doesn't want to tell him. But it's a really kind of, I don't know, it's a little cute scene where they're up on top of the roof, like sleeping at night, and they're kind of looking at the constellations.
Yeah,
like, there's a pizza constellation.
I like the love story in this. It's kind of on the back burner, but it's also like teen movie. I mean, there's usually like horniness in horror movies, but I enjoyed the aspect of that in this movie. I'm happy it was there, you know.
Yeah, it's a little sweetness.
Yeah.
But the one funny thing is when they wake up the next morning and then they're like, all right, we got to get going. And then their friend Jake, what does he have? He's like,
he has squirrel or something.
It's like a
deep fried rat.
It's like a rat on a stick, and it looks like it's breaded.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you guys want some deep fried rat?
And the sister takes a big bite of it.
Yeah.
Ugh, and I'm sure the prop was really gross too.
She didn't look
probably
grossed
chicken,
out
I bet.
it. Yeah.
I think it was credited at the end.
It said chicken peanut butter rat or something.
Yeah.
So we gotta talk about the horse scene.
Oh,
so they stop on the side of the road, and the sister's like, I gotta go pee.
Yeah,
she wanders off into the woods. I don't think they should probably let her go, but for plot purposes, gotta keep things exciting.
Yeah.
She walks like
she
a
walks
kilometer
like a mile away. Yeah.
It's so far away from them that the whole look of the film changes.
So this scene is one that, like, it's definitely a first-time filmmaker scene where they're like, she'll get chased by a real horse. Yeah, we can do that, right?
But the horse was like comped in, right? She was never on screen with a real horse, was she?
No, she was with a real horse. So basically what they did, if you look closely, the horse has like half a person on it, as if the person's
I
been
did
cut
see
in
that.
half, and it's because someone always had to be riding the horse.
Yeah,
So
clearly.
the decision they did is they comped the person out.
Oh.
I see. So it
That's
still
pretty
had that
ambitious.
computery look, but the horse
Yes.
was running through this big field.
I thought what they'd done is like split screened her.
They
in
probably
with the
did a little
horse.
bit of that too.
Yeah.
Maybe to make her look closer to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or just to shoot them in the same frame.
Yeah.
They'd have a
exactly.
galloping horse right next to
You
her.
can't
sort of
have
thing.
someone running from a horse. It would be dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
For a shoot like this, it obviously has no ambulance nearby.
But, you know, hey, they got a real horse. Because
Because and the horse chases after her for a little while. It's
after
definitely like an Evil
eating
Dead
somebody
scene.
behind a bush.
It's like, and then she turns around and she punches the horse in the face.
Yeah, and it falls very ineloquently. I think they just took the model and turned it sideways or
Yeah,
something.
it's definitely it turns to CG the moment that she punches it, and it
I think
falls
she
on the
like
ground.
punches it and she kicks it as well. She does a bunch of like spinning kicks.
She does a couple of punches, and then she also is running away from it, and then ducks under a big branch, and then it smacks its face.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
it's not. It's not as good as we're describing it.
Yeah.
But
It's better.
you just hear like sound effects, like, and then cut to a horse like rearing back.
the sound effects did everything. The sound effects are telling most of the story.
Telling a story.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jake, the best friend who we haven't really talked about in this movie, he's the nerd who wears glasses.
Yeah.
He is the, like, I guess the punishment actor, because he's constantly covered in blood all the time.
Yeah.
In this scene, as she comes back from fighting the horse, he gets covered in mud.
Oh yeah,
From
that's
like
right.
he's
Yeah,
trying
their
to push
car
the
gets
car
stuck.
out of a mud ditch.
Are any of the main actors the writer or director?
No, I don't
think
believe so.
I think the director made a cameo as one of the cops earlier on.
Oh, okay.
And so they jump in the car, and then one of the other best scenes of the movie happens.
Oh
where,
yeah, I totally forgot about this.
What?
The
there's an
Mohawk
escaped
gorilla.
zoo animal that lands on their car.
The what animal?
The Mohawk
It's Gorilla Mohawk.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't forget about that.
Oh my god, how did I forget about this?
Is a real Harambe, right?
Well, this would have been 2011, way before Harambe.
Yeah, it's a vicious gorilla, and it looks very cartoony. But here's my question: was this like an original model? Because it
Yes.
didn't look like stock, you know?
I believe, listening to the special effects guy talk, it was an original model, and the gorilla was the last thing he did, because the scene is actually a reshoot to like pad the movie out, because it barely like goes over an hour.
Yeah, the credits roll really slow.
Real long. They hit that 70-minute mark.
But yeah, it definitely, when it like jumps off the roof at the end and like looks at the camera or something.
Oh yeah, because it gets its hand cut off, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and it like raises an eyebrow when
It
it looks at
grabs
the
Jake
camera.
through his window, and
Right.
and then Wolf like rolls the window up, and then its hand
It's
just pops off
moving
into his
very
lap.
mechanically, but
Yeah.
you know, again, it's cute. It's just like, wow, that's it. It's a very
Sure, it's got a big.
It's a very
it's-
rudimentary
it's-
special.
It's got a big
effect.
red mohawk for some reason, and it goes. And it looks at camera.
Yeah.
And sadly, the gorilla is never seen again.
No.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
All these animals are like just in it for one scene.
they would be hero bad guys in any movie. Any
This
one
is
of these
something that,
things.
like, if
Yeah.
they knew how much work it was going to be, they would have probably been like, oh, they get chased by a gorilla for the entire movie.
Sure, and we'll call it like Rise of the Gorilla
Or
or
it's
something.
like
Yeah.
just deer or something like that. But
Yeah.
no, instead it's every animal on Earth.
Yeah.
And there's so many wherever they go.
I mean, in the opening, they actually had puppet emus that killed the kid, and they cut it from the movie. Oh, they're like,
really?
too much. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy with what they replaced it with.
So then we got.
I think it's the canoe
There's a
scene.
reference to one of my favorite movies of all time, Cemetery Man.
What?
Where-
What is Cemetery Man?
It stars Rupert Everett, and it's an Italian film directed by Michele Soavi. If you haven't seen it, April, I would highly recommend watching it this Halloween season. It's really good.
Okay, well, we got to get
Cemetery
on the horror movies this
Yeah,
October.
it's called Della Morte Dell'Amore. The plot is Rupert Everett plays a groundskeeper at a cemetery where every 7 days the dead come back to life, and then he has to shoot them in the head. Shoot them in the head.
Cool.
And he's so bored with his job, like it's just like normal, and his life is wasting away. And you got to see the movie. It's basically like Terry Gilliam-esque.
When was this made?
1990 something. It was in the like embers of the Italian genre film scene.
Holy
It's not
shit.
like Giallo, though, right?
No, it's not at all. It was directed by Michele Soavi, who was like a protege of Dario Argento. He also did The Church and The Sect, Cemetery Man, and he was an assistant director on, or second unit director on Baron Munchausen, the Gilliam film,
Oh, shit.
and Brothers Grimm. So the death that shows up in Munchausen also shows up in Cemetery Man, the same like maquette.
Oh, man.
We just had it like lying around.
Baron Munchausen is the only Terry Gilliam I haven't seen.
It's really
except
fun.
for the. So I took a course on Terry Gilliam, which is why I've seen all his movies, except for like that new one that just came out.
Ugh,
and I
terrible.
was really tired, so I
Is it the
I
Zero
went.
Theorem?
I haven't seen that one. Oh no, I meant the
Quixote.
the Don Quixote one.
Oh, Jesus, right.
But no, I was really tired, so I did not watch Baron Munchausen, which is probably one of his better ones. I saw the opening scene where the horse flies out the window and then lands. So,
But yeah, so Cemetery Man, good movie.
so what's the Cemetery
right.
Man reference in Rise of the Animals?
Oh, it's that they break. They hit like a rock and they stop and they look out and like there's nothing beyond them. You see like a bridge being destroyed by a big tentacle monster.
Yeah, at that
Oh,
point I
yeah.
was like, okay, like
That's not in Cemetery Man, but the same idea happened. I wouldn't have spotted it if they didn't say it in the commentary, but they use like the same shot setup.
but like the,
from the movie.
giant tentacle thing, I was like, octopuses are not this big.
That was funny. That was a good background gag, and April was trying to find the logic in it. Like, they're not that big, and they wouldn't be, in fresh
Why
water.
would
or
a
whatever.
gorilla have a mohawk?
Exactly.
Why would a gorilla
I'm like-
be on an old country road?
It's just them walking along train tracks talking, and I'm like, it's just supposed to be a background gag, like something from Naked Gun or one of those movies, and it's just like sinking this big, I don't know, shipping
Pirate
container
ship.
ship or something like that, and then this big like stealth
It
bomber.
is like a Naked Gun gag.
Yeah, and then like a stealth.
Yeah.
They keep talking, and then like a stealth bomber goes over and drops like this nuclear bomb. It's like this huge mushroom cloud. So
Well, that's a classic Zucker Brothers rule, is that you don't acknowledge the crazy
Yeah, you
thing
never
going
do.
on behind you.
We just rewatched the original Naked Gun the other night because it's on
Oh,
Netflix.
so good. That OJ scene at the beginning where he's
I
like,
was-
oh no, and he puts his hand in the cake.
like
Makes me laugh
after
every
that
time.
scene,
We were
I
laughing
was
so
in
much.
tears within probably like 2 minutes or like 60 seconds of watching that movie.
It's
and
such
I
a
was,
good opening.
I was just cackling all the way through it. It was so funny.
So watch the original Naked Gun, a police story or whatever it's
From the
called.
files of
From the
Police Squad,
files of Police Squad.
which I still have to watch, by the way.
Okay, I think we missed the scene where
There's the canoe
the
scene.
friend gets unfortunately.
I think that's the scene right
done
after
away.
that, isn't it? They get
It's
out of the
either right
car, they
after or right
decide, oh,
before.
we'll go take canoes.
Yeah, they
Oh yeah, you're right.
they find the river and they find the canoe with two mannequins,
Two dead guys.
two mannequins.
What are these two mannequins doing out here?
And they lift them, and I said to April, like, I think that guy's a mannequin because they're lifting him, and his arm is like 90 degrees and does not move at all.
I was going to say, maybe it's the wolf actor. It has Herculean-like strength.
It's rigor mortis.
So they get in the canoes, and then they get attacked by turtles, which was a scene that, like, just watching it, I'm like, oh, that must have been so hard to film.
Oh yeah, snapping to it. Because I was like, how many people are in the water puppeteering?
Like a
these?
dozen, I bet.
Well, like because each person can move two probably. So
Yeah.
oh my god, they must have had a bunch of people in there. And then also
That's that one friend who doesn't know what he's getting into when he says he'll help out with the movie.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
it'll be
get in.
like 30 minutes, right? And it's like 12 hours of shooting.
shooting
Yeah.
in probably cold water because as I mentioned, it was
It's
fall
fall.
in New York,
Yeah.
Rochester, New
I
York.
believe I heard the filmmaker say it was like hypothermia level 1.
Oh, God. That's when you keep the car running and you just have the heat going. You can go in there for a few minutes, but don't get the seat wet.
But it's not just snapping turtles. There's a big crocodile in there with a gargantuan.
Those classic New York
head.
gators.
Yeah, the perspective was off. It was like they had a regular sized model and they just blew it up. Like
Was it
they turned
CG
the
or do you
sca-
think it was like comped in
It looks
from-
CG to me.
Okay.
Was it like Megalon 3? You know, you've seen that shot of like the stock footage of the shark and like
Oh,
a
yeah.
boat going in its mouth?
Yeah.
It was like that. And so it just kind of pops up and he's like, ah, and he goes underneath because he falls in, of course, and he gets.
Wait,
bitten
does
by
he have a
snapping
scene?
turtles.
Oh no, he doesn't have the classic scene that I need in all underwater monster movies, where somebody like lifts the person up and it's only like half their body.
Yeah, that would have been the icing on the cake.
I could see, wasn't that like in Lake Placid or something like that?
Oh yeah, every
Like Deep Rising
monster
probably.
movie, worse at Salt has a scene where guys like, or you lift the person up and they have like skeleton legs. One or the
It's
other.
called Deep Blue Sea, the shark movie. I'm sure it's in that too.
Yeah.
A skeleton legs.
That's a classic gag too.
Yeah, it's like a chicken wing. You just eat the meat right off the bone.
Oh.
And the two surviving characters seem very nonplussed about
Yeah,
their
that
friend
was her
and brother
She
dying.
just kind of goes, Jake, my brother.
She was catatonic.
Was she?
No, she was just not really reacting. And then we finally meet up with this girl from the beginning. I don't even know how they found her. They just find her by accident.
Like in a field somewhere.
Like they were going, like they knew where they were going, but then he lost the phone in the water. So
Yeah, so they just kind of randomly bump into one another, but she's with her douchey fiance.
who's literally wearing a wife beater. I was like, symbolism.
He's wearing a wife beater, and I'm like, I recognize that sword. He's got like a sword strapped to his
the
back.
sword.
And I'm like, I recognize the hilt on that sword, and I felt so nerdy. I'm like, I think that's Gandalf's sword, Glamdring from Lord of the Rings.
You know what's nerdy, Colin? Is that you knew what the sword was called.
Yeah, and then I looked it
Glamdring?
up. Like, Glamdring.
Glam.
Did you guys see? There's a montage of them walking, and there's a shot stolen from Lord of the Rings where it's like in slow motion, and they're like
yeah,
going
that's
up,
right.
and they
That's
So
right,
it-
where they kind of
a
pass by
reference.
the tree.
exactly.
It's like when they're coming
that's a
off of
Lord
the
Rings
bridge.
shot.
Well, no wonder you were thinking of.
That's
Lord of the
funny,
Rings.
yeah. But it was just like the knob of the hilt was poking up above his thing.
It's
and
a
I
replica.
Wait.
Yeah, I googled it and
Yeah,
I was like, oh no.
Colin went down into the basement in his sword room, looking through his swords, being like, "Is this the one?"
I was watching a video of Liv Tyler on YouTube, which was like Liv Tyler shows off her house, those Architectural Digest videos. And she went up to her attic and she's like, I have a real sword from the Two Towers. I have it up in my attic in a box. And she opened it up and it was like huge and it looked really cool. So that's where those real swords are.
It's like a weed whacker.
They're hiding in attics of actors who are not even displaying them on the wall. Come on.
When the animal finally attacks, she's gonna pick up that sword. It's gonna be like, "I don't want to miss a thing."
Well, also she'll be like, "Hey, my scenes all got cut from the Two Towers when I got to fight in the battle. Now it's Tyler's
It's
turn."
on. She kills Peter Jackson. He made The Hobbit. He suffered enough.
Oh, I should have made it so real. I'm bleeding.
Wait, did they shoot Liv Tyler fighting in the battle
They did,
at the end?
Yeah, I've seen clips of the deleted scenes. So she just got cut because I don't know. Maybe they wanted her to be more fair.
Well, she wasn't like that in the book.
No.
And yeah, I think that scene was leaked or talks of it were leaked. I was like, oh god.
'Cause she doesn't fight it. Did she fight in the third one? No, because she leaves
No.
the mortal realm, right?
Yeah. So yeah, everyone was calling her like Xena warrior princess or something
Well,
like
she's
that.
a little like warrior princessy in the first movie, but
She'll-
Yeah,
She
but they
only
just
has
call her
an-
Xena Warrior Princess because popular culture has no context for a woman fighting in anything.
Yeah.
it's true. Also, New Zealand.
in New Zealand. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the movies. We're at the climax. We're in a cornfield.
Okay, and we meet the real hero of the
This is
movie,
the big-
which Jay Clark, who is the one who also loves this movie and saw it before me, calls this hero Nintendo Bear.
Why? Because it looks like a Nintendo graphic?
Yes, that's why.
And it is like full frame, like right in your face.
I just love how many animals we've mentioned in this movie,
Yeah.
and now it's got to be a bear.
And Colin will probably appreciate the special effect technician admitting that I did not know how to make this bear walk. So when you see it move, it kind of jumps through the air.
Hey, I've seen
It hops when it
I've seen
moves.
worse animation.
It's like, broom, broom,
believe
broom.
me.
Yeah,
I've seen way worse
bark.
animation. So for a first time, this is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I mean, it's not good.
great, but,
But-
it
Fits
It's funny though, if it makes you laugh.
exactly. It fits.
Who
It
cares?
fits the tone of the movie.
yeah, and we've seen so much at this point. It's just like, okay,
I'm not gonna knock.
And yeah,
them.
so the bear is running around chasing them.
And it's just about to eat Wolf there, and our heroine comes out of nowhere with Glamdring, and
Yep.
and smites the bear, cuts its head off.
Just she chops its head off. Practical blood shoots all over her, of course.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
pretty good because they, in the kind of wide shot, they've obviously shot like a kind of neck stump that's practical, and they've kind of like tied it on to, or like kind of comped it so it tracks onto the CG bear, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and I think the douchey boyfriend gets killed, and the girl just like disappears. We don't even see what.
Yeah,
happens
what happens to her?
She just like goes off screen. It's not
I think the last time you see her, she's like screaming,
Yeah.
and then they just maybe abandon her. I don't really remember the like final shots.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But our hero, is happy, and he shares a kiss with his best friend, his dead best friend's sister.
A chaste kiss.
Yeah, it was very awkward because it was like a movie kiss, like their lips are together but they're not moving. Like
We're still in college.
It's a
We just
smooch.
got our first girlfriend.
No, but then she's like, yeah, and then she gets in there with a good snog, like.
that doesn't happen.
It does.
No, they kiss, but they do. But I'm just saying they're not really making out. Like,
whatever.
But it looks like then the camera like tilts.
It's like
down.
the director just put like a bunch of peanut butter on their mouths and.
Ew.
Because they don't know how to kiss. They're like,
Well, he's kissing that girl in the earlier scene. I'll tell you what. That's why I was like, oh, these two must be like friends in real life because it was super awkward.
Oh.
But
The director just put peanut butter on his dick.
The one part of that's awful. The one part of the movie I didn't really like was the last couple lines, which I felt like were trying way too hard to be cool. And I was like, no, I forget what it was, but it was something like, I've never been to Florida or something like that.
Always wanted to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, always wanted to go to Disneyland. I was just like, stop, like, And then it kind of undercuts it by he's driving, and then she goes, hey, the sun sets in the west. So he's like, never mind, or something like that. And
or
so
like,
he's going,
those are definitely like editing 2 a.m. You're finishing the movie and you're like, I need something here.
And
just like one last joke to go out on.
I just thought it was a little too film school, but
whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, they ended with like a crane up anyway, right?
Again, all the camera movements and the cinematography in this are really good for a student film.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't end with a crane up. They ended with 7 minutes of credits, baby.
They're moving at a snail's pace.
With like, it was kind of giving me a Matt Farley vibe at the end. Like,
The song?
the end credits. Yeah, it was like.
Isn't there a Rise of the Animals song? It's like, Rise of the Animals. And it's like one guy playing a guitar.
And he's clearly just making up the lyrics as he goes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna bite your face.
Well, they seemingly had one band do all the songs for this, and
Right.
that's the way to do it. I'm sure it was someone's friend's band, and they did an okay job. I thought the music was okay in this. I thought it was fine. It was
So what's
good.
sad about this movie is that the director has not made anything since then, 2011.
Oh man, that's a shame.
And I've tried to, I would love to release this movie on Gold Ninja Video if anybody who worked on this film is listening. This was my whole plan.
Did you find anybody that was in the credits, like on Twitter or anything like that?
Just the
No, I
angry old
couldn't.
grandpa.
I literally emailed. So I bought this DVD off eBay directly from the director, I assume, because the eBay name is the director's name, and the DVD you can buy from him is like one they obviously packaged for the premiere screening they had, because I don't believe this played any film festivals.
Oh man, so they was submitted but never.
Yeah, but just turned down. That's how I heard about it, is that someone who had seen it when it was submitted said, oh man, this movie, it's crazy.
Yeah, and
Turned down by Schmieder Blansky.
And IMDb reviews for this are savage.
Well, they're all over the
really
map.
bad.
It's
and
like
it's
1
like,
or 10.
come on, it's not that bad.
There's a few.
Oh, what's great about the commentary is that they're convincing themselves the movie is fun. They're like, this movie would be fun if I picked it up off a shelf, right, guys? Right? They're like, what is this movie going to have? 4.3 on IMDb? It actually has 2.3.
Oh, they're too close to it, obviously.
Yeah.
They can't judge it.
No,
but-
it doesn't deserve that rating. I don't think. I've seen way worse movies that have a higher rating on IMDb.
I know, and this movie is charming, and it has a sense of humor, but it's not like trying to be bad, and it's not even really trying to be funny. It's just like it's funny in its style.
I would say it's trying to be funny.
Okay,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not like a
It's-
goofy comedy. is what
No,
I'm
it's
trying
it's
to
like
say.
self-aware, and it's just got the right amount of humor. It knows what it is.
Yeah, and I hope that one of the people who worked on it or was in it maybe listens to this podcast, because this is a movie that is lost to the sands of time.
Yeah, the DVD is very hard to get.
Is it really?
I mean, so it was released by a company that actually released Don't Let the Riverbees Get You. I think like Midnight Releasing or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's an outcropping of Brain Damage film. That DVD is long out of print. So if you look on like Amazon, it's like $60 if you want to buy it.
But you can get it on eBay, right?
Yep, you can get it on eBay. I think it's like $5 or something like that, directly from the filmmaker.
Well, do that.
Filmmaker.
$60. I could buy 2 copies of Mulan for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Filmmaker, email me at goldninjavideo@gmail.com. I can hook you up, man, with a Blu-ray release.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get this. Let's get this on Blu-ray. This absolutely deserves to be seen by more people. So,
I agree.
Yeah, I highly recommend you pick up the DVD. And again, maybe we can drum up some interest from it. I mean, I'm really good at finding people on social media. Maybe I could try and find.
Basically, she's a stalker.
Are you stalking people?
It just comes from the generation that I
looked
live in.
into it, and the director had a podcast, and he seemingly had a Twitter account, but he disappeared in 2016, and I found no trace of him. He had an official website. It's gone now.
Huh. Well, I guess he's probably just off social media. I mean, a lot of people do that.
And he may be just like, man, this movie was so long ago, I just don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Well, not everybody who made a movie like this, especially a student film, wants to promote
Have it out there.
And like look at remember Ben and Arthur, that guy. I'm pretty sure took down any version of it that was available. It's not like he wanted it to be on Amazon Prime or anything.
But Rise of the Animals is fun. Let it out there.
Exactly.
Let it be enjoyed.
It's a cute movie. So seek it out. And if you want to email the podcast, we're at no such thing as a bad movie @gmail.com, and we're on Twitter at no such thing pod. And if you want to donate to the Patreon, patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie, where you get a bonus episode every 2 weeks. And we just talked about the new Mulan, as you can tell because we mentioned Mulan earlier.
Oh, do you want to see April foaming at the mouth?
my God.
You gotta listen to this episode.
If I went into everything I hated about that movie, it would be one of those everything wrong with videos, cinema sins. If you want my recommendation, just watch the cartoon.
Yeah, and I didn't want to before I saw the new one, and you were genuinely upset when
I'm
I said
sorry,
no.
but it's just because it's my favorite Disney
I know,
movie.
I just didn't
I'm very
wanna-
passionate about it.
I didn't want to taint my opinion of the new movie.
I
with it.
totally agree with your.
I just want you
strategy.
You guys had seen it, and I just wanted to have a different perspective. That's all.
Colin's never gonna watch this animated version. I hope you've accepted that, April.
No, I'm not gonna push it anymore.
You kidding? I paid $30 for the fucking live action. I'm gonna watch it 6 more times.
That's just to rent it, right? It's
Yeah.
not even to buy it. Holy
That's insane.
mother.
That is Disney. Oh my God. Unreal.
Yeah. And also I'm on Twitter at I'm on Twitter at April Mansky, Instagram Letterbox. And Justin, what's going on with you on YouTube lately?
Oh, I've been posting some movies, some reviews.
That's right. You want to...
Because that's what the kids are doing, right?
Yeah, well, you want to talk about that a little bit because, if anyone is looking for No Such Thing as a Bad Movie hosts video content, you've been doing some reviews and straight-to-camera stuff. What kind of stuff are you reviewing?
Only things positively, because why would I make something where I rag on things? So yeah, mostly it's stuff that I like. I try to focus on new stuff to recommend to people, and the gimmick I'm trying to stick to is if I recommend a movie, I'll also recommend something else related to it. Will it be another movie? Mostly books and comic books.
That's great. Oh. Yeah, I watched your recent one about the horror book.
Clown in a Cornfield.
That's right.
That's right. Great title. And it's on the Film Trap YouTube, right?
Yeah, so just search Film Trap and you'll find it. Film Trap and then maybe my name, Justin the Clue. That's probably your best bet for it to come up. And subscribe to it.
Yeah, check it out. Smash that like button.
Yeah. Maybe a year to 2 years from now, April and Colin will appear once we can see each other in person again.
We're still recording remotely now, but
I can just shoot us on green screen or something.
Compass in.
I'm right in the room with you, Justin.
Do you know
Whoa, I'm right here. All the camera tracking
work?
will be off and the lighting will be different.
There's a Mohawk gorilla that shows up.
I'll reach over and touch you, and then my arm will disappear
It'll
at
clip
the elbow.
out, yeah. Well,
you keep like your clothes disappear because it's like, whoa, did he CGI on his clothes?
between Justin's camera setup and Colin's CGI abilities, we can be together.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Hello, my friend Justin.
Hello.
How well
Like
are
you're
you
right
doing?
Here I am wearing clothes.
This is my CG interpretation of what Colin would look like if you were here right now.
And where else can people find?
I'd look like the baby from Ally McBeal, the dancing baby.
The dancing baby.
Colin's just like dancing. You use like the dance cycle for the baby.
That thing is so gross.
Those cold, dead eyes.
Yeah. I can't believe that was in a network television show.
That became viral because of that.
So, you can find me at DeClueJ on Twitter, DECLOUX letter J, on Letterboxd, Justin the Clue, and every week on the Important Cinema Club podcast and the Bay Street Video podcast.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm Sergeant Zima, SGTZIMA. And you can follow my Ally McBeal cast.
Baby cast?
I'm taking it back.
Yeah, it's Ally McBeal, a minute at a time, where you do a whole episode about a minute of Ally McBeal.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us this week. Don't forget to put a sweater on because it's getting cold
a little chilly.
out there because it's fall. But if you can, check out Rise of the Animals and have a good day. I'm April Atmansky. I don't know. I was gonna say.
You landed that?
When are
no
people
problem,
listening
April.
to this? Is it morning? Is it night?
We're recording this very late, so.
Who am I? What year is it?
I'm April Atmansky.
I'm Justin DeClue.
I'm Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie. That was my radio voice.
That was your radio voice.
Good?
Hot on a hot tin roof.